Good evening, all. I hope everyone doing good. So, in behalf of my team, myself and Indu will take this speedy session. So, we are going to talk about adverbs and adjectives. So, what does it mean modifying? Modifying is nothing but it adds or changing the verb or adverb or adjective in any sentences. So let's start each of these modifications with some examples. The first modification is verb, or we can say performed by the subject. There are four ways in which adverb modifies the action. Firstly, we will see the adverb that describes how an action performed. So here is an example. Ishwari completes her task perfectly. Here we are able to know Ishwari completes her task perfectly, but perfectly describing the manner in which how does Ishwari completes her task. So perfectly is an adverb. Here, as this adverb describes the manner in which the action is performed, they are called adverb of manner. So now let's look into the next way in which we can describe an action. Where an action performed or occurred. So here is an example. Here, upload the recordings. At this place, here is the adverb. As I am telling the location, where do I upload the recordings? As this adverb describes where the action happened, these are called adverb of place. So now let's look into the next way in which we can describe an action. When action performed or occurred. So here is the example. Kavita submitted the report yesterday. Now we can say Kavita submitted the report yesterday without using yesterday also, but yesterday stays as when Kavita submitted the report. So as this adverb describes when the action exactly happened. These are called adverb of time. So let's look into the fourth action. How often action can perform or occurred. So here is the example. Sometimes Mohan announces the rewards. So sometimes Mohan announces the rewards. Mohan doesn't announce every week. So sometimes is adverb here, as this adverb describes the frequency of action. So these are called adverb of frequency. So let's look into the adverbs describe an adjective. What is the adjective here? Beautiful. So which word describes the intensity of Jana designs? Yeah, this is very. So very is an adverb, describes an adjective of beautiful. We have another example. So the team is extremely happy by the profit. So what is the adjective here? Happy. Which word describes the intensity of the team's happiness is extremely. So extremely is the adverb, describes an adjective of happy. Let's look into the some examples of adverb describes another adverb. So here is the example. Quite easily solved the issues. So here easily is describing the action of solving the issues. So it is an adverb, but the word is quite used here to describe the adverb easily. So quite is an adverb here and is actually describing another adverb. So I will give you the one more example. Soumya's thoughts have worked too early. So here, what is the adverb here? Early. But which word describes the intensity of her work? Too. So too is a adverb describes another adverb. So let's look it into the positioning of adverbs. So the first one, initial positioning. So what is initial positioning? Initial positioning is nothing but if adverb comes before a verb, it's called it as initial positioning of adverbs. So I will give you the example. Luckily, nobody got hurt. Carefully, she opened the box. The next one will be middle position of adverbs. If adverb comes in between subject plus verb, is called it as. To give you the example, I usually work on Saturdays. I have already seen this film, so I have lost one. Final positioning of adverbs is nothing but if adverb comes end of the verb or object is called it as final position of adverbs. So I will give the example. She speaks very quickly. We met by change in prestige. So thank you guys. Rest of the portion will continue by Indu. Thank you. Thank you guys.
Now we are going to see about adjective, indicating things like color, size, condition, sound, appearance, and etc. Here is the example. In this picture, it's a building. The building is that noun. We are giving more information about the building by using the adjectives like nice building, single story building, beautiful building, and big building in such a ways. It's a simple building, but we are adding this adjective to give more meaning to the noun. Basically, an adjective answers the following questions like what kind, how much, how many, and which. Next, types of adjectives. Adjectives are divided into various types. We will look into main 6 types of adjectives. These are adjectives of quantity, adjectives of number, qualitative adjective, distributive adjective, interrogative adjective, and demonstrative adjective. Now, let's look into them one by one. Qualitative adjective. It describes the quality of noun and pronoun. They generally answer the question of what kind in any sentence. For example, Deepa is always considerate of others' time when committing to project deadlines. And another one is, I appreciate how encouraging Ishwari is with her team. Here, considerate and the qualitative adjectives. It's showing the quality of Deepa and Ishwari. Adjective of quality is also referred to as descriptive adjective. Now, let's look into the next type. Adjectives of quantity. It describes a noun and pronoun with quantity. Questions generally answers for how much in any sentence. For example, Kavita has taken many initiatives on the project. They show much patience. So remember, they define the quantity of noun, not exact amount. Next one is adjectives of number. They are the words that describes exact number of noun. They generally gives the answer of the question how many in any sentence. For example, the project deadline is in 2 weeks. My computer has 16 GB RAM. Here, 2 and 16 answers how many in a sentence. Exact number describes the adjectives. Let's look into the next type. Demonstrative adjectives. It point out a person, thing, or animal. For example, this Chrome browser is better than Internet Explorer. These projects are very difficult to work. This, that, these, those are all comes under demonstrative adjectives. Let's look into the next type of adjective. Interrogative adjectives. These are WH words are used with nouns to ask questions. WH words include who, whose, whom, which, and what. For example, whose project generated more revenues and which platform is suitable for the project. Here, whose and which is the adjective. It's used before project and platform and it's answering the questions. So it is interrogative adjective. The final type of adjective is distributive adjective. An adjective used to represent people or things individually among the groups. Each, every, none, both, any, either, neither are some of the distributive adjectives. For example, 5 members were allocated to each team. Every team member should take initiatives in the team meeting. Next, location of adjectives. Adjectives can be located in 3 places in a sentence. The most common location is directly in front of the noun. It's modifying. Example, the big dog, the new toy. Here, big and new is the adjective word. It's giving more information about dog and toy. Another location is after linking verb or verb of condition. These are called predicate adjectives. Example, the game was interesting. The final location of adjectives occurs after a noun when it is set off by commas. Example, the book well written and suspenseful kept my interest. In this example, 2 adjectives are presented. This is the paragraph. It was Christmas Eve. Pretty girls and boys everywhere were hungrily awaiting Santa arrival. The elves worked eagerly to put the finishing touches on all the toys. The shiny reindeer ran quickly into position of the head of Santa's sleigh. They shot into the midnight sky, high above the pointy rooftop. Santa laughed happily as he delivered soft present to all the children's homes. Slowly wrapped gifts glistened under the sharp light of Christmas trees. Children around the world awoke early on Christmas morning, carefully tiptoed out of bed to see if Santa had come. Let me see detail. It's in either an adjective word or adverb. Here, pretty add more meaning to the girls. Next one, hungrily gives more meaning to the waiting of Santa's arrival. Eagerly gives more meaning to the verb. And reindeer were shiny. So, of course, the shiny is the adjective word here. Ran quickly into the position. So, quickly adds more meaning to the way of running. High above the pointy rooftop. So, how does the rooftop look like? It was a pointy rooftop. Santa laughed happily. So, happily, it's an adverb. It shows how he laughed as he delivered soft present to all. So, the presents were soft. Gives more meaning to the present. Slowly wrapped gift. Slowly gives more meaning to the act of wrapping. Under the sharp lights of Christmas trees. Sharp is the adjective gives more meaning to the light. Christmas morning, carefully tiptoed out of the bed. So carefully gives more meaning to the act of tiptoed. That's it. Thank you.